wear my sunglasses for this and cornrowed my hair. Oh, I just took these out, but who cares? So I usually like to keep things light, you know, in terms of sharing on social media, even when it comes to topics that matter to me. And I try to imbibe it with a little humor. Sometimes in the real world, when you're surrounded by folk who might initiate a conversation on, say, race or wealth inequality, equality in the LGBTQ community, and even in real life, I don't necessarily openly share, you know, about things that I've experienced in my childhood, even in adulthood, like being racially profiled in DC on two separate occasions in DC of all places. There were policies in place in DC in particular that said any resistance to police officers' orders is resisting arrest. Being racially profiled, having to go to court, go to jail. One of the two cases was almost immediately thrown out by the judge because the police in that case, the club police, and I wish I remembered the name. I have it somewhere in my email. They have the specialized team of police, a police force, specifically stationed at bars and clubs in DC, and they have an official name, and it was so comical. I wish I could remember it, but maybe I'll look it up and I'll just put it in the comments once I find it. But it was something like police task force for the club scene or something like that. It was just so laughable. The judge immediately threw it out because the police officers standing outside the club force. The big one. Here's the big one. And luckily I had a witness, thank God, but I still, you know, that shit's still pending. I'm still trying to clean my record of that crap. The second case, lawyers were trying to withhold the surveillance that proved that I didn't swing first at the upstairs with the bouncers. Who I was supposed to be working that night, and the owner of that club knew that, and yet the bouncers didn't want to hear it, and it ended up me being jumped by these dudes, 5 of them, bouncers, because they were all claiming that I swung first, which I never did. I was defending myself. So I was on stage, and they asked me, they told me to get down. I said, oh, but I'm supposed to be here. Ask my boss, basically, or the owner. Refused. They just grabbed me. They had me in the air. I was fighting back because, like, bullshit. And she was claiming, the same one officer who was claiming that I swung at her as well. Possible. Oh, it sounds almost misogynistic, and I hate that, but always be kind to women, and I don't know, don't hit a woman unless you really have to. Like, being genderqueer myself, like, I don't adhere to any stereotypes or norms, so I don't give a shit. But I personally don't give a shit what people say, as long as, you know, it's with love. The judge asked if it was unequivocal that that the video showed that I did swing first. And she's clearly seen the video because he asked her directly, and she was like, it was like she didn't want to say, you know. It was like, oh, cat got your tongue. No, you don't know. No, you don't remember. She said no. And the judge said, oh, yeah, this case is BS. We're throwing it out, like, you can go. After, like, being in jail for days, being fed cheese sandwiches, and having my, I don't remember if it was the first incident or the second, but I have a scar here. even my stitches, because I had to, they cuffed me, they took me to the, I didn't get my one phone call, mind you. They took me to the actual hospital, stitched me up, and I started bleeding. And so after a while, after I kept saying, hey, hello, bleeding, popped, they had to go back to restitch it. And then the second time, again, the stitch popped, and I just kept bleeding, and nothing was done. So I don't talk about that. And I don't talk about my family, like, they gloss over, or I don't know, their eyes gloss over, they just shut down. It's fine, I understand, traumatic. I don't want my trauma to traumatize other people, but it's still, they're still facts. I was abused by my stepfather, physically. He used to beat me, called me humiliate me in front of my siblings. At 5 years old, I remember him taking down my pants and spanking me in front of all of my siblings. Toys, I used to like Barbie dolls, and I think even then I knew I was different. Of course, at that age, you don't know. He used to humiliate me and do that shit, beat me, beat my mother. You know, I don't talk about, not everybody knows that my dad was murdered at, when I was about a month and a day old. By someone maybe just like so far gone from drugs, crack, I think, I don't know. Hardworking Haitian immigrant. From what I hear, like a dancer like me. He brought a lot of the family over, his family from Haiti. They got established too, subsequently in Boston, the Boston area. And helped his family thrive and spoke 4 languages. Worked in Cuba where he was born, where I think his father worked, which is probably why he was born there. But raised in Port-au-Prince. And I don't talk about that because, again, I don't want to make my trauma someone else's. But maybe somebody can relate. Maybe that'll be helpful. And I think it's also helpful for my class I'm taking at UA Little Rock. So I just need to practice anyway, because we're going to be doing a lot of that, like, you know, public speaking. I always feel 100% recording, talking to myself, talking to my phone. But I'm going to have to practice anyway, so this will be a good excuse. And I'm trying to reach that fuck it stage. That's where I thrive the most, I think. Because, like, biting my tongue and listening to all these conversations, people don't have any perspective they don't have any perspective. Yet they speak on it with authority. And I'm just like, okay, to protect my sanity and their sanity, maybe, fuck it. Maybe say, stop it. Just, like, try. Like, I want to grow. I want to learn. I want to be better. Like, hey, forget that. Like, stop worrying about that. Like, you know you care about people. You know you don't want to hurt people's feelings. I'd like to think that others would like to evolve or try to evolve their ways or their thinking and their biases. By the way, I've been so close to the camera this whole time. Oops. No. This is my happy place here. I do this computer phone. Anyway, so how many minutes is that? 7? This is why I don't record myself. But again, this is good practice and good venting.